morning, everybody.
Good morning, Bob.
This isn't very formal. Raise your hand if I've worked with you, or you guys have known me, or if you've mentored me. I know what I know because of you. You are all my dear colleagues and dear friends. And I wanted to talk to you today about something very important. First off, I'm psyched. I'm really excited to be here. This is the coolest group of folks I think I've ever presented to. Because you get it. You get it. You know, it's like a revival, and I'm preaching to the believers. You know what I mean? Because that's what we are. We're believers. And what we're doing is sacred. Never forget that. What we're doing is sacred. Yes, we need research behind it. We need data behind it. But when we have best practice, and we are strategic and intentional, guess what? We do the work on the ground. And good things happen to people. We say youth. Sometimes institutions say youth as if they're from a different planet. Or they're a different species. Youth are you in a developmental process of life. You were them. And most policymakers and politicians forget that they were them when they're making their policies. Yeah. Woo! They do. They do. I got news for you. I didn't take as many tests when I was in high school. I'm 50 years old. You know, and neither did you. And look at you. You did okay. Start thinking back to when you were in that developmental process. Start thinking back. 12 years ago, actually 20 years ago, Millbrae knows this, we started a community school movement in Long Beach, California, and really wanted to outreach community. And then 12 years ago, through a generous grant from the James Ron Foundation, we started a project called the Youth Institute. And the Youth Institute is a youth development program that engages middle and high school youth using digital media arts technology to engage them and connecting that to academic, workforce, and social skills. And we start that by teaching them to tell their story. Because you can never tell a good story until you can tell your own story. Yeah. And youth need a voice. They need a voice to tell that story. And by the way, that transfers into academics. I'm a journalism major, that transfers into academics. And it also transfers into the workforce. We also do STEM. We call it STEAM. Science, technology, engineering, the arts, and math. Yeah. And for those policymakers who don't get STEAM, they're doing STEM in the 60s. Because guess what? You can't make a coffee cup unless you can render it and artistically design it in cyberspace before you ever manufacture it or put it in a lathe. So you can't build an airplane unless you know STEM. STEAM, unless you have a graphic designer. Matter of fact, let's talk about Apple for a second. Apple! You know, they made the iPad. Guess what? An artist drew the iPad, and Steve Jobs went to somebody and said, an engineer, and said, I need you to make this work. So it's an artistic function, not a scientific function. So I want us all to think about how we're approaching the way kids learn. By the way, 60% of all technology jobs in the future are not IT guys, they're creative content. Think about that. So when I talk about youth development, we all know the 5 facets. What are they? Who can tell me? Youth development, 5 facets. Relationship building.
Skill development.
Skill building. When I talk about skill building, I think of 3 things. Social, academic, and workforce. Any good youth developer supports academic because academic is a skill. Any good teacher is a youth developer, or they're not a good teacher because you have to engage youth before you teach them a darn thing. Safety. Safety of play, psychological safety. And that comes with structure, and that comes with rules. Community involvement. Youth moving from hopeless to hopeful. Youth moving from victim to activist. Youth changing their world. Youth becoming change agents. And then let's talk about youth participation, ladders of leadership. Youth moving from participant to run the program. Get out of the way if you're over 40. Let them run the program. I've never seen a movement starting for 40-year-olds. Never. And most of you who are gray here, we're in the 60s. You know exactly what I'm talking about. We need to give them that opportunity. We need to give them that opportunity. So, I want to share some data with you, some hard data. But first, I want to introduce an expert in the field, Mr. Leo Salcido.
Expert in the field, may not have a degree, but I've been in after school, grew up in after school, learned after school, participated in after school, and I am now teaching in after school. So, you want to talk about longevity? I've been in this for a while. Don't mind me, I'm running up and down, and thank you, Mr. Fung, for introducing us and calling me a cookie because it's Salcedo, not Sausalito.
Salcedo, that was classic, Michael. That was classic.
Yes, and Bob has asked me to come here and co-present with him also, and Sam, a dear friend, I love you, dear, and Mike has asked us to be here and participate, and I'm just here to give you guys my insight. Perceptions of growing up in an after-school program and what it's been like, and these 5 facets of learning in after school, those are pretty spot on, and that's what kept me in an after-school program. That's what kept me participating. That's what kept me giving back. And here to teach, give, and teach back what I got. That's what it's all about. I know what it's like growing up in an after-school program. I know what it's like growing up in a single family. I know what it's like growing up in a poor, lower-income family. And all these kids that are participating in after-school programs, that's their highlight of the day. Especially when you're a good team leader, team program leader, whatever your site calls it, when you're that staff person, you are like a god to the kids. You are. And I remember one outstanding memory that I have when I was in 5th grade, in his after-school program, which we didn't even know each other. I was in 5th grade, at the YMCA in Greater Long Beach, and the one highlight I remember in my life was going to McDonald's and having ice cream. That one time stood out, and I remember the guy's name, his name was Oscar, the team leader. Because he sat there, he took me to ice cream, we taught, and he talked to me about comic books. I'm a comic geek. I love X-Men, I love superpowers. And so he engaged me on a level that I was able to really, connect with him. And it's those connections that we make and those relationships, one of the facets of youth development that really, kept me a part of the program and wanted to come back and wanted to do what I do now. So, thank you for having me.
I failed to tell you what Leo does. Leo is a certified Apple Tech engineer. Leo runs a social enterprise that netted $400,000 last year. Leo was responsible for building businesses that gave out $120,000 in checks to urban high school youth last year. Leo is an economic engine for a community. Give him a hand. So I want to share strategies with you. This PowerPoint is going to be the most important PowerPoint you ever see. It's going to give you data, hard data. And you need the research-based hard data. And I'm going to share it with you. Hard data. Ben Falilili, American Samoan, North Long Beach, most smart athlete kid I ever knew. President Scholar, San Diego State University, graduated with honors. He's in New Zealand right now with his girlfriend working for a non-profit there, and he's coming back and he's going to be a Youth Institute director for us this next summer. That's what I'm talking about regarding youth development. We always think about the kids. We don't think about the people. They're going to grow up, folks. And it's our sacred duty to help them through a developmental process of life. It's not our bureaucratic duty. It is our human duty. I'm going to share another one. The clicker works. Go.
Good to go? Oh, you went the wrong way.
Go forward one. Liliana. Once again, another one of our kids who grew up in our program. She's at Cal State Long Beach. She's one of our staff. Beautiful girl who really is brilliant. You should see her music videos. She plays guitar like nobody's business. She's amazing. And she has 2 little brothers who've gone through our program as well. You go ahead and go through. Michael, Jimmy. Jimmy just went with me to Cambodia for 4 weeks this year. He's an American-Cambodian student. Majors at Cal. He's his last year aerospace engineering at Cal State Long Beach. He's one of my first kids 12 years ago. He runs our Youth Institute in East Palo Alto, then runs our Youth Institute. He's going to run our Youth Institute here in Berkeley this next summer. So if you live in Berkeley, you'll hang out with Jimmy. Surfer dude, outdoor educator, outdoor guy. He's a Cambodian American surfer dude in Southern California. Welcome to America, isn't it cool? I love it. I love it. But one of the great things about Jimmy is he really cares for kids. And he really has a heart for them. And he lives to help them. And I just wanted to show pride today. I just wanted to show the depth of what we do and why we do it.